Hello and welcome to our tactics series. We'll be practicing different ideas, tactics, puzzles, whatever you want to call it. The point is to develop your pattern recognition. So even if it's a tactical idea that you're familiar with, you still want to make sure you practice it every now and then. Sometimes you want to repeat same videos or same puzzles, same ideas, so that your brain is just kind of automatically in tune with it. So you don't always have to try to figure everything out. Over the board, sometimes we have to figure things out, but also oftentimes we're like, oh, I've seen that before. I know what to do. And bam, you've got it. We're going to start with checkmating in 1 here. I already have a solved version here, so you can have the idea of what we're aiming towards. So if you didn't know already, checkmate is when you win the game. You do so by attacking the king, and there's no way for the king to get out of the attack. So you don't actually capture the king in chess. You have to checkmate him by making sure that he's being attacked. There's no way out. And if you have trouble with that, there's this acronym CPR. So in chess, that's C for capture, P for protect, and R for run away. If there's nothing the king can do or another piece can do to solve those issues, then the game is over. Let's take this example for example. Our rook here is attacking the king. The king, which can move 1 square any direction, cannot capture the rook because he cannot put himself in danger. The queen is protecting the rook here. And the king can't move sideways, diagonal, up, because the queen is doing an excellent job in guarding every other square the king can run to. So for 1, C for capture, the king cannot capture the rook, and P for protect, or you can say block. There's no way to block this attack, and R for run away, the king cannot run away, therefore this is checkmate. All right, with that said, let's jump into the next one. All right, so remember, we're doing checkmate in 1 here, so in 1 move, you should be able to checkmate the king. And just so you know, it is white to move. Give you a second to pause the video and see if you can figure it out. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's see, what do I notice? I notice that this king here has no squares it can move to, right? You can see that our king is currently kind of really exposed, so we better do something quickly. And let's see, we want to wonder, okay, where can we check the king? All right, so let's say if I go here, is that checkmate? Not quite, because this rook can capture, and then, he gets to play on another move. What about here? Is that checkmate? So we're attacking the king. King's in danger. King can't capture the rook because the other rook protects it. And it looks like there's no way to run away. So the answer is here. Rook to g7. Checkmate. You guys get the idea? All right, let's jump to the next one. All right, so we have a new puzzle here. We got a knight and bishop on the board. Remember, it's checkmated 1. And go ahead and pause the video, see if you can figure it out. All right, let me go ahead and give you what I notice. So I'm looking at the king, and I see he doesn't have a lot of squares to run to again. So he can't go here, can't go there, can't go here, here. King is guarding this square, this pawn is guarding these squares. You can kind of see what's happening around the king. You want to kind of try to look at the whole board. Right now I'm kind of very focused on where the king is, so that's where I'm starting, but I'm branching out. And I'm also noticing if I'm branching out, right, the knight here is covering squares around the king too. Serving as a protector for the pawn, which is also protected by the king. And also noticing that our bishop here is under attack by the other bishop. So maybe the bishop's involved. The first thing I'm looking for is checks, right? So it's checkmate in 1, so we have to be attacking the king. So I'm looking for checks in this case. All right, so let's say we threw in a check here and attacked the king. Well, if we did that, the king could run away. So that's not it. What about here? If I went down here and we checked the king this way, same thing. Well, it seems like this is a big issue, right? The king can run here. So if you haven't figured it out already, go ahead and try pausing again to see if you can solve that problem. All right. So what I see now is if I want to guard that square and attack the king, the bishop would be the best choice. So if I played here, actually, let me draw the arrow. If I played here check, it also guards this square kind of indirectly, right? So the king can't move there and he would still be in danger. Can't go sideways because of the pawn. Can't go sideways because of the pawn. Can't go back because of the knight. This knight, although it's a little bit further away, is doing a lot of good work for us. So the answer is bishop to h4, checkmate. All right. Let's try another. We're going to do 3 more of these. All right. So it is black's turn and checkmate in 1. Well, let's look at black's king for a moment. The black king is in danger, right? There's actually a checkmate right here. So if we don't checkmate now, we're in danger. There's really nothing we can do about this. So it's either checkmate or get checkmated ourselves. So go ahead and try to pause the video and see what you notice, and see if you can find checkmate in one move. All right, so if I'm looking at the king, his king is also exposed. Let's see, can he go anywhere in the present time? Well, he can run here. He's blocked off by the queen and bishop on this diagonal. Can't go anywhere up here because of the queen and the rook. Let's see, can he go sideways? Okay, so he has a couple squares he can move to. Now, is there any move that we can make that attacks the king and guards those squares without being captured? Sounds like a lot, I know. But if you're looking through moves, remember to go through CPR. So C for capture, P for protect, and R for run away. And if the king can't do any of that, or if there's no other piece that can help take that piece that's attacking, then it's checkmate. All right. So what I notice that if I bring the queen here, which is protected by the bishop, so that means the king can't capture it, then we're also guarding this square and this square, which we previously discussed is where the king can currently run to. And by moving the queen here, we're not giving up these squares in the back because the rook already does a good job. The last thing I want to check is like, okay, yes, I'm attacking the king and he can't run anywhere, but are any of the other pieces able to capture me? No. All right, well then that's the idea. Checkmate. All right, 2 more to go. All right, so it is white to move, checkmate in 1. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can articulate, say out loud what you notice, and then also try to find checkmate in 1. Good luck. All right, so what I'm noticing, make sure you pause the video. Okay, what I'm noticing is, again, we have a rook here that guards all these squares in the back. Very useful because the king cannot move back, cannot put himself in danger. I'm also noticing the king really has nowhere to go in this position. He can't go here because the pawn guards that square, and so does the knight. And he can't go forward because of this other knight. So if we found some way to attack the king in this position without moving any of the minor pieces here, then it would be checkmate. And the move I see here is this pawn, which is currently not doing so much, can attack this pawn, will be protected by the knight, and checks the king. Well, in this case, that would be checkmate, right? Because we capture here, let's try to visualize it. Then there's nowhere for the king to run, and the king's being under attack. There's no other piece that can protect it. Remember, if we take, we gotta make sure there's nothing else that can take us back, right? Because that would mess up our mate in 1. Then this should work. Checkmate. Very good. All right, let's knock out one more. All right, so go ahead and pause the video here. See if you can figure out what checkmate in 1 is. Make sure you check the CPR and make sure there's nowhere for the king to run. There's nothing can capture you. No, nothing can happen. So go ahead and give it a shot. All right, and as always, I always start with what I notice first. I don't jump straight into just trying everything out. So I'm noticing that this king has some squares to move right now. He can move back 1 or 2 squares, right? I'm also noticing our king is kind of safe. I'm kind of happy about that. It's not really easy for him to be attacked. I mean, he can be checked, but it's not the end of the world. But we have this very powerful battery here. I'm really excited about that. We have the queen and the rook both bearing down on this side. I'm willing to bet it has to do something with that because none of our other pieces are really involved in the attack. And our bishop, I wouldn't necessarily call it a bad bishop, but it is stuck behind a pawn, so it's not really doing a whole lot for us. Right now, maybe if this was a longer game, if it wasn't checkmate in 1, maybe it would contribute to preventing something like this. Maybe. But I'm focused on checkmate. Like, I don't have to deal with all this on the other side right now if I got checkmate in 1. So let's see. If I played here, for example, would that be checkmate? So I'm attacking the king, and the rook is protecting my queen, so I can't be captured. He guards this square, but we got one other square you can run to. So maybe not that one. All right, if I try this square, same idea, protected by the pawn and the rook. King can't go forward, but then we have that other square available. So if you haven't figured out already, where can the queen go that guards all the squares, cannot be attacked, the king can't run away, and then it's checkmate. All right, that would be queen to h7. Because you're attacking the king, can't go up, he can't go sideways, can't go up, can't go diagonal, and we have mate in 1. All right, good job, guys. Good practice. Let me know in the comments how you thought this went for you. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you have any ideas or other patterns or puzzles that you want to look into, feel free to send me a message, and I'll be happy to make a video for you. All right, thanks. See you in the next one.